Fit your kids to the system or your system to the kids? Let's try to figure it out.
We're not going to get a second chance in the game.
Now, this is a good debate, and it really makes for a great debate on X, right? Anywhere where you can debate online and say stuff, and it's an unwinnable argument. But I did want to touch on it today and just iron a few things out and throw my opinion in there. Now, this thought, do I change my system to fit my kids or make the kids fit the system, is a question that often gets asked, and the logical answer, and the one that guys want to throw out there online is, of course you change your system to fit the kids. But I don't know that it's that simple. What they want to do is they want to really, I think, they want to dig a little bit at those system guys, those guys that say, this is the offense that we run, right? At our school, we run this offense, and this is who we are. So we're going to keep running it. And I think that people use this, you've got to fit the system to your kids, to use as a little bit of a dig on those guys. When it comes right down to it, I agree. You make your system fit the kids that you have. But let's talk specifically about what that means and what it does not mean. I do not believe that it means change your offense to fit your kids. You don't have to run a system at your school, but make no mistake, running a system is an advantage to your program. If you look around your state at the best high school football programs in your state, year in and year out, you usually have a lot of repeat suspects. You can name a handful of schools in your state that are going to be at the top. And they're going to be at the top because they've got the same staff there, and they're really doing a lot of the things the same year after year. That advantage of doing the same things is very real, because when you're not teaching plays, you're diving into the weeds and the details of playing the game. And as I travel the country, I see guy after guy who's been winning, who is really deep into the weeds, into the details of teaching how they play the game at their school. If you continue to switch your offense every year, which I've been guilty of, you lose the advantage of the carryover from year to year. If the kids show up in the summer for day one, whenever it is in your state, whether that be spring or summer, if they show up and they already know the plays because they played last year, you get to start with details. And the difference between winning football games and losing football games, really, you're amazed sometimes at how much of that is found in the details of each play. It's which team is making fewer mistakes. So if we look here at the whiteboard, I've got kind of a base, what you might call it 20 personnel, some might call it 11 personnel. You know, really this F is more of a tight end type guy and one back, right? So this is a very popular set. If I know that I am a power counter guy, our team at our school, we run power and counter, right? So we love this double team. Our guard is pulling, okay, in this case to wrap. This guy's a hinge guy, and our fullback is kicking out, right? So that is a base to our system. And then there's so many same as's right there within that when we run counter. If I look at that and I know that now the following year I look at that and I go, well, I lost all those linemen, and this year's linemen, they're more, I'm going to make something up. They're more athletic. So this year we're going to run zone. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, but you have to be careful because there was a lot of coaching that went into last year, a lot of coaching into teaching power and counter. And if you abandon that, you're starting from scratch. Again, you've got an edge being a repeat coach, being the same coach at the same place. That is an advantage. If you switch, you are taking a little bit of that advantage away from yourself. Just be aware of it. To me, saying we've got this type of kids, generic overall kids, I don't see a lot of wisdom in that. Nothing has been proven that wide zone or zone concepts are better for big kids or athletic linemen rather than gap schemes, or gap schemes are better for big, or we're going to run the wing tee this year because we have big linemen, or we're going to run the wing tee because we have little linemen. I've heard them argued in so many different ways. I don't think anything's been proven that a certain offense is better for certain sized kids or certain speed of kids. At the end of the day, more athletic, stronger kids are really better at everything. What I think is a better example of fitting your system to the kids, which is what the actual quote is. The quote isn't change your offense to fit kids. The quote is adjust your system to your kids. So let's look at a better example of that. I think that you can't adjust a system to like an overall idea of what kids are. This year's team is more athletic. What you can adjust is who is your best player. So maybe on this year, let's say this was 1999. 1999's team, the H was our best player by far. So power, counter, all of our best plays, we make sure they went to him. But in the year 2000, that H graduated. And now our best player by far is the quarterback. So how do you adjust your system to fit your kids? Well, that Q is our best kid. So when we run counter now, and I don't want to take too much time to draw this up, but let's say we are going to run counter. So now maybe in 1999, we would run counter that would go to the H out of pistol. So he would cross to the left here and then come back right. Let's draw that up here in a second. Our fullback's going to fill off this edge. So maybe in 1999, we ran it out of pistol so that our H, who was our Superman, he would take the handoff here and cut back here. I haven't changed anything. I'm just saying who's going to get this ball. I want to make sure it goes to our best player. Then in the year 2000, when that kid graduated and our quarterback is by far our best player, maybe we just move him to sidecar and he crosses his face here with a flash fake, and we're going to let our quarterback carry this counter play back. To me, that is a much better example of what is really meant by we're going to adjust our system to fit our kids. Now, I'm like a lot of people. We love to tell our opinions, and it's fun to tell your opinion. And I don't want this to get on anyone's case. I really want it to be a reminder to us. Adjusting your system to fit your kids, you have to be careful not to be changing your offense to fit your kids or a kid. Because the reality is sometimes a kid gets hurt. And now you've made a lot of changes for one person. I'm just saying be careful. Now, what put this topic on my mind was what I had to edit this week for our newest production at Chief Pigskin, which was Featuring Your Quarterback in the Wing Tee by Matt Garnett. And he's over at Peoria Notre Dame. They really have been, they're the smallest school in their conference by a lot, and they have to really compete against some very tough schools year in, year out. And they continue to put really good seasons together and be difficult to stop. But they're a wing tee team. That's who they are, and they are big on buck sweep. That's kind of their system play. So what happened this year when their quarterback was their best player by far? Instead of making too many changes and saying, well, we're going to run this offense instead, because let's face it, the wing tee was not built to feature a quarterback. That quarterback really he's a card dealer. He distributes. So now here they are with a year where they go, man, this kid's our best kid. How do we get him the ball? Do we have to change offenses? No, they didn't change their system. They adjusted their system to fit their kids. So now instead of running buck sweep with this H, which they would still do in their system, they had a way to maybe keep this guy at the wing, let's say, for example, run buck sweep here to the left still. We got all their blockers intact. All of their coaching is still the same. And now the fullback still takes the trap fake. They don't bring this guy in motion back this way. In fact, they could do some fun things with him and maybe take him out in motion the other way as a distraction. Quarterback opens up and then reverses out this way, and the quarterback would carry the buck sweep. I think this is a great example of how to adjust your system to your kids, which in the end I think is very wise. So what do you think? You have any examples of when this worked for you, or when you screwed this up, or when you did this right? Comment those below. Love to hear from you guys. Love to keep the conversation going. If you want to see Coach Garnett's video, that can be found in the link below for members. We appreciate all you guys' support, and join us back here next week as we continue to talk coaching ball.